Hi, everyone. Um, Today, I'm joined by Dr. Dalili from Action IQ. Hi, Kia.
Hey, good to be here, Kamya.
Thank you for taking the time to present what you're doing at Action IQ. Okay, the floor is yours. You can start your presentation.
Sounds great. So, Action IQ is a customer data platform, and a little about me. My name is Kia, like Kamyar just said. I'm a data scientist at Action IQ, and my background is mathematics and academia. I spent a good 10, 15 years as an academic, and then I spent a few years at Facebook in the New York office, working with location data, and joined Action IQ from there. A little bit about Action IQ. Action IQ is a customer data platform. What we do is we connect pipes basically to customer data, bring it into our platform, and then allow non-technical marketers to use this data to run their marketing campaigns. The reality of enterprise data today is you have data in different places, in a data warehouse, in Google Analytics, potentially some email interaction data that's available to the company as first-party data that known users interact with a brand. And this data, though is available to the company, is separate from your business users. You need marketing analytics, you need data engineering, you need someone with technical chops to use this data. On the separate side, when you're running the marketing campaign, generally these are very siloed, and the measurements of these are done separately through the channel. You're sending an email campaign out, likely through Salesforce or ExactTarget, an email marketing channel. You will have to send the creative and the list of people who will receive that creative to that company. They will execute the campaign for you, but it will have no bearing to the campaigns that happen on Google or on Facebook, and the measurements and the performance metrics that you get out of it are channel specific. You know how often people opened the email, but you don't know what was the actual business impact of that email. Similarly for Facebook and Google ads, you have a silo here. And generally the way companies get around this is really by hiring a small army of people to iterate on the campaigns, do measurements, pull in data to figure out how to actually run the marketing, in addition to the business user itself. And the vision, what Action IQ sees, how Action IQ sees the world working, is by breaking this wall and allowing the business user to actually have access to all of this wealth of data that the company already has, and coordinate across different campaigns, so that you could exclude someone who made a purchase from your paid advertisement. This is probably an experience all of us have had. You buy a watch, and the watch you have already bought follows you across internet, and people actually spend a good amount of money on targeting you and retargeting you with something you've already bought. It's information that should be available to the brand. You should not be targeted and retargeted again for a purchase you've already made. The reason it doesn't happen today is because these are disconnected, and connecting all of this data and putting it at the business users' fingertips allow them to be much more efficient, much more iterative on the work they're doing. Now, this is Action IQ as a whole, but how does this mesh with machine learning? And the idea here is when you have all of this data within the platform, you have interactions data, you have transactions data, you know how people are interacting with the brand, you can add a lot of value by employing machine learning techniques. The way we think about machine learning and data science at Action IQ is help our clients. And the two bits that are kind of important to us, the two bits that we think are the important parts to build, is using this data to better insights and smarter execution, and building infrastructure to help our clients operationalize their own models. Now, let's talk about each of these a bit separately. Better insights and smarter execution. Our objective here is building models and data science infrastructure. And we have an important sub-goal, which is avoid building useless stuff. Should be self-explanatory, except we're not marketers per se. So it's actually not such an easy question to answer. What is useful to a marketer? When we talk to our clients, we talk to people in marketing, but in practice, what gets used and what doesn't get used, and nothing gives you signal about that as much as actually building the stuff for people and seeing whether they get used or not. And so the way we do it here is we spend some of our time working as consultants for our clients. We spend about 30-40% of the time on the data science team, consulting for our clients, solving problems as they come up for our clients, and keeps our clients happy, which is always important, and gives us learnings about what is useful to a marketer, what would our clients want to use if we build it into the product. And then the rest of our time we spend actually building these products. So let me walk through an example. So a while ago, we had a customer who had built a small segment of people they had identified as being interested in home goods. And over time, the segment had become to be a small segment of people. They think they had about 3 million people in their emailable file, people they could reach via email. And only about 100,000 of them were qualified to be in the home goods segment. And they brought this problem to us. Like, they asked us whether we can identify a larger group of people who would be interested in the home goods. And the way we thought about it is, instead of thinking about home goods and figuring out who is interested in home goods, why don't we take this generic segment, the definition happens to be people interested in home goods, and see whether we can find people who are similar in the way they interact with this brand to people who are interested in home goods. And so we took the segment of all emailable users, the smaller segment of people interested in home goods, and we built a model to basically measure the distance of every emailable user to this home goods segment and expand it to people who are close to the home goods section. This is a very ad hoc solution tailored to specifically this problem at hand. For instance, we actually pulled the data for this directly from the customer's data warehouse. We didn't even use the data we had within the ActionIQ's platform. Now, once we were done with this and the client ran a campaign and did a bunch of measurements on the performance, what happened is they kept coming back for it. The audience expansion requests from this client became the new normal. Within the next 3 to 6 months, we got 10 to 12 expansion requests from this client. And doing this each as an ad hoc project became untenable. So the first thing we did was, okay, let's get these features directly from ActionIQ. Figuring out how to get features from a customer's data warehouse every time we want to do this was too much work. And then second, let's just script the training of this model so that we don't have to actually do work when a new request comes in. So far, so good, except we have other clients, and our clients talk to one another. And so we actually got requests from 2 clients who were not the initial targets of this exploration, who wanted to actually do something similar. We started asking around, and basically every other potential client or client we had at the time also wanted in. They're like, yeah, this is amazing. We would want to use this. And we realized, okay, it's time to actually build this into the platform. So what we set out to do was to build a backend service to train and evaluate a model, to know who is close, who is not, and how close is close enough, design and build a front end for it, and have deployment plans, because models are specific to clients. They use features that are specific to the client's data, and a new client coming in, bringing in new data, new type of audiences, requires us to be able to build features and tune the model to work for them. And the result, of course, today, lookalikes are an integral part of ActionIQ's platform. a marketer who has lookalikes deployed can pull in any of their audiences into the lookalikes feature. We will automatically train and evaluate a model for them and allow an expansion up to the point where it is deemed a reasonable quality of users who are similar to their seed audience. So that's the workflow. Other than lookalikes, we've built other features in ActionIQ in a very similar way. We've started by exploring and doing one-off ad hoc work for a client. And when we realized that this is useful to that client, we brought it to other clients. And once we had a consensus of this is useful for the marketers, we set out to actually building this into the platform. And on the second dimension, infrastructure for machine learning now, we have machine learning models that we create and we run ourselves. And part of this infrastructure is for us to be able to schedule and monitor machine learning models that we have and operationalize the execution. What we can also do is help our clients do the same. And this is really about infrastructure work. This isn't so much data science and machine learning as what is today the sexy topic of AI. This is engineering work. This is making sure that you're running the same model that the client gave you, that you're not training a different model. Doing it transparently so that the client can be sure that this is in fact the case. Monitoring the training data, monitoring the input data to make sure that the world is not changing from underneath you. In theory, everybody has perfect data coming in. In practice, you train your model today, and tomorrow one of your features is all zeroed out. You need to know this before you retrain your model. And so having the monitoring in place to detect anomalies in the input data and in the output data. If the distribution of your output changes significantly, you would want to know that it has happened. And similarly, you want to continuously track the performance of your models and know that the output is good for consumption by your non-technical users. And this is the important bit. The end user of this is a non-technical person. So when you put the scores back into the platform, when you put the predictions back into the platform, it's being used by someone who doesn't know whether this model worked properly or not. And as a result, it falls on us to make sure that everything works perfectly before this gets to the hand of the business user. So at the end, the picture is still the same, except within ActionIQ, we can provide more than just pipes and orchestration. We're providing intelligent insights and operationalizing the machine learning that comes from the client itself. That's it. Thank you, Kamyar.
Thank you very much, Kia. This was a fascinating presentation. It was interesting to see the process that you went through to come up with the features in your platform. It was very insightful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kia.
Thanks for having me. Good luck.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.